And there's my loaf of bread. Don't that look great? And that'll last your mother and I about a week. I probably haven't bought bread in the store for like 2 years now. I've been making my own for quite a while. Hello, Hannah. I'm gonna make my bread today, and I just wanted to walk you through, show you what I'm doing. First, I got my mixing bowl here. Then I'm gonna mix my dry ingredients for making my dough in. I got another little bowl here that I'm going to do my yeast, because in that bowl I'll put me a cup of hot tap water with 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. So here I got, like I say, I got some Red Star active dry yeast. And then I'm going to use for my flour, I've got King Arthur's bread flour, and that's non-bleached, non-bromated. It's very healthy flour, and like I said, it's a bread flour. Bread flour is a little higher in protein than your regular all-purpose flour. Okay, Hannah, I'm back. I've got my 2 3/4 cup of flour in here mixed, and my salt, about 1.5 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons. And I'm gonna put my oil in here, but I'm gonna put it in this 1/3 cup. And I'll show you how I'm doing. I'm just gonna put like a couple teaspoons, but I wanna get that oil well mixed around in there, and I'll show you why. Okay, pouring it in my flour there. See, I forgot to mention one ingredient, and that's honey, because I'm going to make your mother's favorite honey bread. So now I'm going to fill my 1/3 cup with honey, and because I did the oil first, that honey's going to pour out of this cup real easy. Okay, so there's my 1/3 cup of honey. Let's pour that in there. And then I'm gonna add this. You could see the yeast is activating, and that's a good sign. And of course, that's our mixture of a couple teaspoons of yeast and a couple teaspoons of sugar. So I'm gonna go, and this has been activating for about 10 minutes. So now I'm gonna pour this in here, and that's all my ingredients. And then I'm gonna mix them together with a little tool to get my dough going. And as soon as I get it all kind of initially mixed, then we're gonna flour our board, and we're going to knead the dough for like 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, Hannah, I'm back ready to knead the dough. So I'm gonna take a little flour, and I'm gonna flour my board here, where I'm gonna be kneading the dough. And I'm gonna take a little, I wanna knead my hands too, so the dough don't really stick to my hands much. Now here's my dough. I only mix that for, just to get it all initially mixed and the dough upside. So now I'm gonna get that onto my kneading board here. I'm ready to knead my dough. So I'm just gonna get my hand in there and just start kneading it. And you're gonna do this for about 10 minutes. Now you're kneading into that flour on the table. And if the dough gets too sticky to work with, just add a little more of your flour, sprinkle it on your dough and your board, and only use what you need to so you can work with the dough. And remember, you got to do this for 5 or 10 minutes. So there may be several times that you're adding some flour. So I'm going to get back to you after I get done kneading it. And as you can see, I'm working the dough like this. This is kind of the fun part, you might say. But I'll get back to you when we're ready to go to the next step. Okay, Hannah, so I got my dough all ready. I kneaded it for 10 minutes. And then I got it inside my bowl here that I cleaned out. I also oiled the inside of my bowl, and I sprinkled a little more on top of the yeast. And now I'm going to cover it with my saran wrap, like so. And I got that all sealed well. Let's cut that saran wrap loose. And we got that ready for the rising process. Now, some people say let it rise for 2 hours, but what seems to work well for me is about 3 or 4 hours. I want that dough to at least double in size. And once we get to that point, we'll get to our next step. So I'll be back then. Okay, Hannah, I'm back. It's been about 2 hours, and it looks like my dough has doubled in size. So I'm going to take my plastic wrap off here. Just set it aside here because I'm going to use it again. And I'm going to degas my dough. You know, that's kind of the fun part. You just knock that air right out of it. And then I'm going to take it out of the bowl. And I'll just lay it out on my board here. And I'm going to lay it out on the board. And I got a little bread pan dish here at the end of the board. So I'm going to take this, gonna kind of spread it out like that. It's kind of rectangular. My hands are very oily. So what do I want to do? Okay, I'm gonna get my thing on. See, kind of give you a view there. You gotta spread out like that. And what I'm gonna do, hopefully you can see it okay. I'm gonna just roll it up. You know, I'm just gonna roll it up all the way. And my seam there I'll have at the bottom. And bring my pan back up here, and I'm just gonna tuck my ends in a little, tuck them under, and I'm gonna take the whole thing. I'm gonna plop it in my little bread dish. Oh, and I got it lined with parchment paper. Oh, here's my thing of parchment paper, which you can get at Walmart or anywhere. I think I just trimmed the top of this just a little bit, so that ain't in the way. Because what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my plastic, put it back over the top, and I'm gonna give this a second rise. And this will be like 45 minutes. You don't want this to over-rise. And it'll come up about to this high. It'll be nice and rounded. And then it'll be ready to put in the oven. And so I'm gonna put this back in the microwave. Set me a timer for like 45 minutes. Anywhere from like 45 minutes to an hour will give us a good second rise. So we'll get back to you later. Okay, Hannah, so I'm back. It's been about an hour, and you can see my dough is doubled in size again. It's got a nice crown to it there. So I'm gonna take my plastic off. Again, let me give you a good view of that. And I'm gonna put that in my preheated oven. I got it preheated like 375, and I'm gonna set my timer for about 30 minutes. Should be done by then. Might take 35 minutes. So I'm gonna put it in there, and we'll get back to you, and I'll show you the end result. Okay, Hannah, so I'm back again, and our bread took exactly about 30 minutes, and look at that, nice and brown on top. Should get a nice thump like that. And so I've had it sitting out here for like 10 minutes, so I'm gonna take it out of the pan now. Oop, there it is, slid right out. And there's my parchment paper. I can use that again for the next loaf I do. I'm all ready for that. And there's my loaf of bread. Don't that look great? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let it set about an hour before I cut into it. And then I'm going to cut into it. I'm going to probably make a sandwich for your mother's lunch tomorrow for work. But one reason I want this completely cool, or probably the main reason, is you don't want all that hot air, the moisture to escape your bread. You want to retain that, because then your bread will be moist instead of being dry. So you don't want to cut into it for at least an hour. Anyway, there we are. Got a nice loaf of bread, and that'll last your mother and I about a week. I probably haven't bought bread in the store for like 2 years now. I've been making my own for quite a while. So anyway, hope you have good luck with your own, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.